Hey, what is going on, everyone? BadTwinTurbo here for another episode of Forza Motorsports 5 Tips and Tricks, and today we are going to be talking about tuning. And I know a lot of people do not go into their tune setup and change anything once they upgrade a car, just because some people just don't know what they're doing, and some people just don't want to take the time to do it. But I got a perfect tuning setup that you guys can use for all your cars in your career mode and online races if you want. It's something real simple, real quick to do. Takes not even 5 minutes to do. If I really wanted to get into it, it would take me, probably hours just to sit back and forth trying to get the best tune for each individual car. But who wants to sit there and tune for that long? And because honestly, I just want to race. It's fun just racing. So this is a simple tune, like I said, that I use on all my cars. And before I get started into the tune, the things that you're gonna need for this tune to be successful are race brakes, race springs, race front and rear anti-roll bars, and sports transmission or better. You could actually get away with not upgrading your anti-roll bars, but I like to do it just because it reduces the weight on your car, and I like tweaking it just a little bit. Now, the car that we're going to be using today is going to be the same car that I used in my last tips and tricks videos on upgrades, and that's going to be the Subaru STI. But before we start, I just want to let you guys know that I did go back into the car and change a couple things. That other video was just to show you how you can declass your car and get some extra upgrades if you wanted. But what I did is I actually took off the rear wing. You don't really need that. The class level is low enough that you don't really need it, and it's all-wheel drive. Also went back and got the stock driveline, and I went into the intercooler and got rid of the race intercooler and went back to the sport intercooler. And that'll put you right back at an even 600 for B class. So go ahead and change those things up. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this tune. Alright guys, the first thing you're going to see when you go into your tuning setup is your tire pressure. Now, you don't have to change this if you don't want to, but I like to actually drop my tire pressure down, 1 PSI, but it's not that big of a deal. I just like to do it because it helps heat your tires up a little quicker and gives you just a little bit extra grip on the road. So that's it for tires. And going over to gearing, and this is what a lot of people have trouble with, and I like to, like I said, go with the sports transmission. That's the only thing I really mess with. I don't like messing with, all the gears individually. It's not fun for me. And like I said, this is supposed to be nice and quick. So I'm going to show you a quick rule of thumb that I like to do. And it works pretty much on every car. And that is taking your very last gear, your 6th gear on your graph here, and get it to point right to the very top right hand corner. And as you can see, it is pointing at my top right hand corner, and it actually is going to work very well for your gearing. You can do this on pretty much every car. Some cars might be just a little bit different, and you might have to adjust it a little bit more like this, or vice versa, go the other way with it. But a good rule of thumb to remember for messing with this final drive is just get that to point like it. Pretend your 6th gear or your final, whatever the last gear is you have, is an arrow, and it's pointing right at that top right hand corner. So that is it for gearing. And going over to alignment, I don't mess with that at all. Anti-roll bars, if you didn't upgrade them, then you can't change them, but I just pretty much just real quick, I don't go into any perfect numbers. I just basically make them just a little bit softer. Springs, I like to drop my car down all the way. Again, on some cars it's not good, but I like to low ride my car. So going over to damping, don't mess with that at all. Aero, don't mess with that at all either, because we don't have anything that we can adjust. We didn't put a front bumper on it. We took off the rear spoiler, so we can't adjust the rear spoiler now, so we can't do anything there. I'm gonna skip braking for right now and going over to differential. Again, don't do anything there. And back to braking. This is huge for your cornering speed. And rule of thumb for me is for every car that I get, again, you're going to have the racing brakes. Rule of thumb is go all the way to 65%. Before I do that, I'm going to go right back to, it hasn't changed yet. As you can see, 60 to 0 is 108.9 feet, and then 100 to 0 is 270 feet. Now I'm going to adjust this all the way to 65% to the front, and as you can see, it has dropped my braking distance. Now you could just leave it there, but this is where you want to mess with it and tweak it just a little bit, because every car is a little different when it comes to your braking balance. So what I like to do is put it right at 65 and memorize the numbers just a little bit, you know. So we got 92 and 251. So I'll go up to 66%, and as you can see, it is actually gives me more feet, and that's not good. You actually are gonna take a little bit longer to brake, and that is not good at all. So we're gonna drop it down to 64, and if we remember from the 65%, it was 90, like I said, 92 and 251. Dropping it down to 64 puts it to 90 and 246, I'm sorry, and that is actually much better. So going to 63%, it raises it. So now we know the sweet spot for this car is right at 64% in the front and 90.8 feet, 60 to 0, and then 100 to 0 is 246.3 feet. And if we go all the way back to 50%, as you can see, it is yeah, it's horrible. So we're gonna put that all the way up back to 64%, because like I said, we found the sweet spot for the brakes, and we're gonna go ahead and hit OK and apply setup, and that is it. You have your car tuned. It's a quick tune, like I said. It's great. It works on all cars, and I highly recommend that you check it out. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you found this very useful, go ahead and hit that like button and favorite if you want to, if you really liked it. Leave comments below on what you think, and I really appreciate you guys taking your time and watching this video and sticking around to the end. And like I said, my name is BadTwinTurbo, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Later.